What's up, guys? Sensei Brewster from the Okinawan Karate School in Macon and Forsyth, Georgia here, and wanted to do a quick video on how to pick a saber. Excuse my outfit, I'm like working back here and building all kinds of stuff, but I threw on at least a nice hoodie to represent OKS here, so I don't look too crummy. The thing that's gonna help you guys the most, the best tool here is a measuring tape, right? One of these expandable ones, you know, extensions, whatever you wanna call them. And it's gonna help you a lot with the different topics we're gonna talk about today, okay? So first is, the biggest question I get is, what length saber? What length blade? What length handle? You know, how heavy? I get all kinds of questions, but this is gonna help you with the length part, obviously. So the first part is what length blade. This is how I recommend you guys pick it, okay? So you're gonna stand natural with your hand just chilling, holding the measuring tape here, and you're gonna stick it out like, they're way too big, right? Obviously. So you can kind of hear it hitting the floor. What you're gonna do is you're gonna reel it in until you get to kind of a comfortable spot and then lock it in, right? So it shouldn't be touching the floor, it should be maybe 3-6 inches off the floor. And then you look at the measurement. Measurement. So this for me is what, 42 inches almost exactly, oddly enough. This part here is usually 3 inches, so you get 45 inches, okay? And we'll talk about the handle in a second, and you add these and subtract them and so on and so forth. But the key is that you shouldn't end up with a measurement like too tiny, and you shouldn't end up with one like too gigantic, right? It's just not gonna be good. So usually, you know, the blade measurements are, I think, broken down into like feet, you know, like 2 feet, 3 feet, I don't know, maybe even 4 feet, and it's pretty long. And it depends on your fighting style. Like, I mean, obviously this is like super fast to move around, and obviously this would keep somebody way back, so it depends on your fighting style. So everything that I'm telling you guys, you know, obviously make your own decisions. Handle lengthwise, you can do a bunch of different things here. So this is not my particular saber, this is one of my awesome instructors, Mr. Ty. What's up, Mr. Ty? So you basically have to choose your handle depending on if you want a one-handed grip or a two-handed grip. And again, this is personal preference, okay? No matter what grip you choose, style grip, you're going to use mainly your bottom fingers for a lot more control. You're not gonna be gripping it like, per se, like this, right? There's not a lot of control there. So you grip with your pinky, the mid finger and birdie finger, so on and so forth, and you're kind of gripping tight there and loose up top just for more movability, I guess you'd say, right? And the way that you hold it is 45 degrees is how I like to remember it. Not 45 degrees up here, but your finger should not be above the, you don't have a guard on this, right? But not above the handle, okay? So 45 degrees like that, and then 45 degrees like this is kind of optimal, is kind of how we teach, and gripping with the lower part of each hand. So the goal is to keep your hands as far away as possible. So I wouldn't want to like have them touching like this if at all possible. I want to keep them far away. Some people even like leaving the pinky off, but that's where a lot of your grip comes from. So again, personal preference. One-handed grip, I do not like really holding up in the same position as a two-handed grip with your top hand. I like choking down a little bit. Still 45-degree angle, right? You can still do all your spins and everything like that. But that's the most comfortable thing for me, okay? So you have initiate size, you have all kinds of different handles, so it depends on what you want to do. You can put them together with another one, create a staff, whatever you want to do, right? It's all personal preference. The weight. I have two different schools of thought on that. You know, it depends on what you're doing. Again, if you're training, I want you to use the heaviest one possible because it's going to make you stronger, so you can use your muscles, and then when you pick up your sparring saber, let's say, that's pretty light, you're going to be able to kill it, like move super fast with that sparring saber. We used to have a concrete bow. If you don't know what a bow is, it's like a big staff, a big broomstick, if you will. And we had one, I can't remember, I want to say it was like a steel, you know, conduit pipe like you use for electrical work. And we filled it with concrete. So I don't know how much that thing weighed, but it felt like it weighed like a couple hundred pounds. Obviously it didn't, but it was heavy. And you'd sit there and you'd use it, and man, when you put that thing down and got like a wooden bow, oak bow or pine or something like that, man, you'd be able to wail like super fast on that sucker. So a heavy blade I recommend for training, and a light blade for actually contact work, sparring, flipping, you know, twirling, you know, whatever you're gonna do with the thing, okay? Let's see, what's next? Balance point. So the balance point kind of impacts that a little bit. Balance point is where you can stick your finger or whatever you got and balance the saber on it. So for this one, it looks like roughly around there, right? I'm not gonna say here all day, but roughly around there. So say maybe, I don't know, 2 inches from the handle, okay? I like to visualize a hammer or a sledgehammer, if you guys know what a sledgehammer is, right? You got the weighted metal part on one hand, then you got the wooden part on the other hand. If that weight is like 6 feet away from you, that thing is gonna feel like it weighs a ton. If you slide the weight down, like in a hammer, and is like near your hand and holding it, it would be like nothing, even though it weighs the same no matter what, right? So leverage is important and different things like that. But the balance point in this was like way up here. It's going to feel totally different than if the balance point is down here. So what I like personally is about 2 or 3 fingers from the edge of the handle the balance point to be, which roughly this is. It's a little bit off, again, it's not my personal saber, whatever. But that's where I find the most comfortable ratio. So you want to be fast, but you also want to be able to block something. If you were using paper, it'd be nice and light, but it's not going to hold up, right? So you want something firm, you want something quality that feels like pretty darn good, right? If you've ever held a flashlight with the batteries in it, it feels pretty darn heavy. I don't really like that. So this here is like nice. It's not heavy. It's nice and light. For me personally, this would be more of a one-handed saber. Another easy way to tell how long your handle needs to be is by using your palm length, okay? So for a two-handed saber, you want about 3 or more palm lengths. So if you put a palm there and a palm here, I can get 2 and maybe a half over here, right? If you're looking for a one-handed saber, you want more than 2 hands. Even though you're only going to be using one hand, you want more than 2 just for changing it. Check out the blue there. I accidentally hit it, right? Changing your grip, so on and so forth, okay? All right, next. The weight is all personal preference. So again, it depends on what you're going to do with it, what you like. I don't want to tell you guys what to do. I'm just giving you suggestions here. The end of the saber that you use most of the time is the weak part, right? Which is what you're using for striking on the most part, most of the time. And then the strong is the lower half of the blade where you're doing a lot of your blocking and defensive moves, okay? Next, I think that's about it. I'm pretty sure, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I think I pretty much touched on everything to kind of help you guys pick a saber. Color, obviously, that's personal preference. Design, totally personal preference. If I'm picking out another personal saber, one thing I know I'm going to get is the little holes cut out. I love that. It lets the saber light shine through and everything like that. Definitely I recommend getting one with a little, it's not a cutout, but whatever where it kind of goes down for a grip for spinning. But if you're just going to use it for sparring, then maybe you want a better grip with all these little, golly, I can't think of any words, not wrinkles, but whatever you want to call it, guys, right? But it's all personal preference. Whatever saber you get, you're probably going to be happy with. You're going to love it. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool to all your friends. So pick a good one and come train with us down here in Forsyth or Macon. We'd love to see you guys, and peace out. See you later.